here.
And do I get to get us started, Kathleen?
Yeah, thank you. Trisha, please be the hostess. We love you. The hostess with the mostess. Please kick us off.
I don't know. I definitely have to share that title, Kathleen. You truly are the hostess with the mostest. Kathleen Caldwell is the CEO of Caldwell Consulting Group and also the founder of the C-Suite Network Women's Leadership Council and also the Women's Success Thought Leadership Accelerator. Now, she guides and leads and creates a space that truly is extraordinary. And I think all of us, as we sit here in this space together, you just can't help smiling. And Kimberly, you know, what you said is like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. And I think, you know, it doesn't matter if we've missed a meeting or two or not, whenever we get to be here together, it's just always extraordinary. And that's because of Kathleen's leadership, the space she creates, and the love that she gives to all of us in working through all of the things that we're working through to be the best leaders we can be. So I am, as always, so thrilled to hand things over to Kathleen Caldwell to kick off this extraordinary time together, and we get to hear how to be bigger than big, and I love that because the women in this room are super powerful and have so much that we give and that we need for our own success as well. And so, Kathleen, thank you again. Over to you.
Trisha, thank you very, very much. Wow. And as CEO of C-Suite Network, we are so delighted that you took your busy day to come and co-host, launch our Women's Leadership Council. Thank you very much. So some sparkle fingers and giving them some love to Trisha.
Did I hear promotion there?
Well, it's unofficially official today.
Oh, congratulations. How fun is that?
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
Okay. Woo. So we started off our session with a little bit of, you know, what are we grateful for? And, you know, we are so darn fortunate to have Kimberly Roush with us today. And, you know, it occurred to me that here we gathered together 2 weeks ago. The world was a lot different 2 weeks ago. And here we are 2 weeks after the last 2 weeks, 2 weeks again. And so I would be curious for each of you, take a moment if you would, and think of something that you are grateful for. And I'd love to get, you know, some of your voices in the room and to start us off in a very, very beautiful way to kind of bring our circle together. You know, we're in all different parts of the world, but we are in a circle here, a circle of light. And it occurred to me this morning that I love helping the light workers, helping the people that are the helpers. And if you're on this call, you are a helper. And if you know you're a helper in some way, I would love to have you give us a little sparkle fingers, a little light. If you know you're helping the world in any way, yeah, if that resonates with you, yeah, beautiful, yeah. Part of it, I think, is declaring to yourself and to the world that you're part of this light. And in a world filled with a lot of darkness, there's a lot of light, but the world is looking for you. So just curious if you would feel compelled to share, jump in. What is it that today you are grateful for, September 2nd, 2021? We'd love to get your voice in here.
I'll go.
Patricia, Patty, please. Yeah. Hi, welcome.
Hello, ladies. I am blessed. And I tell people I choose to live my life purposefully, joyfully, and gratefully. To me, that's the little perfect trifecta. And where it is in the middle, that's bliss. That's a sweet spot. And I help people. What I do is I help people, as many people, live in that space as possible. I work one-on-one with clients, but I also have my show, the Rise Above show, and I have guests come on and share struggles they may have had in their personal or professional lives and how they made it through, and or products and services they have people to help them along their journey. So it is serving on different levels with that. So with the show turned into a summit, I also do a summit quarterly, and I have just been added my project. I have the Rise Above project that I am in a 501c3, and I'm applying for federal grants to be able to serve people globally. So I am I'm getting tears in my eyes because I'm so excited about that, to be able to help people with, and this is with them being able to learn skills that they didn't learn in school, if they've been through a domestic,
Right.
situation or trauma, to help them to be able to rise above.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And by the way, put your contact, your LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn into the chat. Let's use the chat to connect. And, we use the chat to connect and, use this as a follow-up. So this is great. Thanks, Patty. Really appreciate that. Good, good, good. So who else? I'm curious, who else has something to share around what it is that you're grateful for in this moment? Who would love to come
Well,
off? Yeah, thank you.
You know me, I always jump on this.
Come on, Deb. Oh,
So-
we love you.
I am so grateful for my friendships. I had an absolutely delightful conversation with Sheila today. I interviewed Dana for my podcast and it went live earlier. And of course, you were my 700th guest on Monday. Sheila got to see my Wonder Woman mug that you sent. It was so cool, so cool. And so, as always, I am just so grateful for friendships and support.
Thank you, Deb. Oh my gosh. Yes, I the 700th podcast interview. What a miraculous deal. Now I'm
Right.
just curious, who's going to be the lucky one who gets to be number 800?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll keep watching it.
Woohoo.
Well, I followed you, Kathleen, so.
Thank you. Okay. Love it,
I know.
Dana.
Dana
Good.
was 701.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
Love it.
I'm basically, I'm just grateful for everybody who has surrounded me and in support of what my vision is, and have come out of the woodwork basically and just said, no, what you're doing is what's really needed, and what can we do to support it, and things like that. So I'm just really grateful that there's that support arm
Yeah.
out there.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks, Dana. Yeah. We all have big visions, and I promise you, after our session today, we're going to be thinking bigger, because guess what? The world needs us to. So let's jump in. We've got a couple slides, and feel free, use the chat, put in the chat what it is that you are grateful for, because we want to make sure that we hear you this morning. And I love having an attitude of gratitude, because this whole idea about getting big and being bolder, and you can use the beautiful capability in Zoom to open up the gallery so you can see each other. You can move the slides around, whatever works for you. Please take good care of yourself. And the agenda, we always have a tight agenda, but we want to start off with gratitude and welcoming everyone to our bi-monthly Women's Leadership Council. Today is the interactive gathering. So we're going to have some time to share as Kimberly leads our program here in just a moment. But we're going to be introducing an esteemed faculty member and as a founding member. And we have some new announcements at the end. But ladies, we cannot go any further, because we want to do a big women's leadership shout out. I learned ESO from Sheila Anderson, who's the SA, this amazing program a month ago, Raise Your Visibility, Be Seen, Be Heard, Be Richly Rewarded, with Deb Creer and Cindy Chosik. Just wondering if you were here, give us a little sparkle fingers. Oh my gosh, it was awesome. The replay has been up, so you can go on our LinkedIn group and pull up the replay. And of course, C-Suite Network wonderfully sent out the replay link. And then, of course, our last session 2 weeks ago, oh my gosh, boost your charisma and presence as a successful speaker. Sheila Anderson was our guest speaker, along with Teresa Rose. And give us a lot of love on that one. Whoa, that was very, very powerful. So thank you to you, Teresa, and thank you to you, Sheila. It was really great. Yeah, a lot of action was taken after that one, including Christina DiGiacomo getting a new collection of bow ties for herself. So that was very, very fun. Yeah. So as we move into our topic, I was really interested in this, and I always do a lot of research before our sessions. And I'm thinking about you, each of you, before our session, and thinking about what is it that we may need before each session. And doing my research, Inc. magazine did a study to find out, they did a survey of women a couple of years ago and found out what are the things that women were saying about why they were not taking more risks, why they were not being bolder in their life. And, it was the usual things that we heard. And it was very interesting to me about things that, boy, I could relate to, not being decisive, overthinking things. And if you can relate to overthinking things, give me a little love in the window here. Yeah. Constantly seeking approval. Well, okay. Creating rework, like overdoing things, doing it once and then trying to go for perfection. Not granting autonomy. This is what I found so interesting, is not letting go of things. How many of you can relate to that? Trying to over control. Maybe not in this room, but I understand there are women that do that. And letting fear of failure continue to show up, like having the priority that, like, hey, I'm afraid this won't work out, or not pushing back and not asking for help. And finally, the other top one that they mentioned was comparing ourselves to others, maybe their progress, maybe their success, maybe their fame, their fortune, their freedom, their fun, and criticizing or ourselves and others and feeling worse about it. So if you put in the chat, if there's any in here, let's give some context to our session here. If you can relate to any of these, feel free, put it in the chat. We'd love to get your point of view on here. Any of these resonate with you. And if you have something to say about this and you haven't shared yet, feel free, just jump right in and unmute yourself and talk to us about how this may have stopped you from being big and being bold. Okay. You know what? I'm probably in the wrong room because you all probably don't resonate with any of these, right? Okay, got it. Yep. Susan, do you, you're always so beautiful about sharing. Any comments about this? Because you incorporate, Susan Younger, you really see a lot of people that are high achievers. And can you resonate with any of these, from your client perspective?
Yes, and also from those that are working in the community to help others. Frequently, yes. Part of what we find is as we're learning to grow what we want to present to others, we discover what we have been hiding from ourselves. Ooh. And there are frequently those ahas in the discussion where somebody's like, I've been working on this for years, but today when somebody said it in a different framework, I heard it in a way that resonated with me or made me aware of something that I should have thought about differently, but was holding on to old attitude, old thought process, whatever it was that gave them this new outlook. And I think that can be the most powerful thing about being involved with groups like this, because we have so many different women coming at it from different perspectives and different areas of business that can shine a light on it in a new way for us. So I love that about this group.
Thank you, Susan. Such words of wisdom. Really appreciate that. Yeah. So, for us as light workers, as people that are bringing excellence, that are bringing leadership, that are bringing hope and possibilities to our clients, to our communities, to ourselves, of course, and our families, think about this also for your clients, is what is it that they're dealing with? And how can you be a helper to help them think big and get bolder? Because, we attend our Women's Leadership Council gatherings, and this is not about like a hypothetical kind of thing. This is, we're in the court, playing the game, because guess what? We all know life is in session, okay? The kids have gone back to school, so we are back in session as well. All right. So my curious question before I introduce Kimberly is, what would be possible if you, in fact, played a bigger and bolder game? We're all playing games in life, and I'm not talking about checkers or chess. We're playing the game. We're playing the game of whatever's important to us. Get what we want or not. And, clarifying what is it that we want? And what would be possible if we were also able to help our clients play a bigger game? Okay, so any sharing anything that's bursting for you, Trisha, please jump in.
Kathleen, I'm just going to say, with your message, with Kimberly's message today, how all of the women hear how we show up. The fact of the matter is we can do anything we want to do. And I think the key really is what you just alluded to, is who are we serving and how passionate are we about delivering for them? Because we can't get big enough, fast enough, and have enough impact if we're truly serving. And Charity, it's not been announced publicly yet, but Charity's joining the Thought Council. She's leading in her community. I mean, we've been getting all kinds of, updates along the way on Charity's journey, but I think what a great example where she's stepping up very boldly and into all kinds of incredible leadership that is all about serving her communities. And that's what all of us are doing in all the different ways that we serve. And then there is no stopping us. And especially, shoulder to shoulder, how we do that in terms of the rough days when we come together and we got the shoulder for each other, and then cheering along the way as well. But I think there is no end to the possibilities. It's just a matter of how big do we want to get to serve the communities that we all serve.
Very, very well said, Trisha. This is beautiful. Yep. And I love the idea. I'm going to be changing some of the photos for the Women's Leadership Council, because literally we're not only locking arms together, we are shoulder to shoulder. And, you notice if you're locking arms with other great women and great men, if you're shoulder to shoulder, it's hard to look backwards, right? and lament the things that we could have done, should have done, would have done. When you're locking arms and you're locking shoulders, it's a forward focus. So yeah, thank you. So good. Thank you, Trisha, very much for that. And just also wondering, a big curious question, because this is part of the theme for today. And we're so grateful that Kimberly Roush is here to be our esteemed faculty speaker, because the world needs you and the world needs your light, right? So when I say that, I'm just kind of curious what comes up for you is, how do you feel when you have the idea that the world is looking for you? Your time is now, and the world needs your light. So if you haven't shared yet, would love to get your point of view in here. Charity, you're the belle of the ball here a few minutes ago. What's coming up for you?
Okay, so one of my big things is helping my community. I don't want to see my town fall off the map, and no one was willing to take the reins. So I just jumped in thinking, well, I could make a couple changes and maybe improve. And apparently I'm the mayorette. Is that even a term? Everyone's coming to me now. So we have a meeting tonight. I've got 3 internet companies looking to bring in actual high-speed service, which is a big thing. I've got people contacting me wanting to make appointments to look at buildings, to set up businesses. Our foundation is growing. I got everybody on board with that. So I'm like just sitting here and I'm like, whoa. Some days you wonder, you pinch yourself. You're like, holy crap. And then you're like, you know what? This is what I'm here to do. Yeah. And I feel it bursting from my chest. It's just like, and I could see all the people I can help. The kids are excited. They're like, you are teaching us to not give up. And I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you so much that they're noticing. So we'll see. I'll probably lean on a lot of you going, what am I doing? But it'll be fine because I have a great family in this group. So that's the part I'm most excited about.
Bravo, Charity. Lots of love for you. Yeah. Yeah. And you're only called, like all of us, just to take the next step. And I loved this picture because, sometimes it does feel like we're in a cave, and sometimes it feels like, we can't really see the light. But what I'm clear about is I just have to take that next step, and I can make the choice to go back in the cave, or I can take one step closer to the light. That's all I need to do. I don't need to fix the world today. I don't need to do anything dramatic. I just need to show my light, be my light, show my light, and just take one step forward. So if each of you you're willing to take one step forward today, put that in the chat, because we are going to invite our marvelous Kimberly Roush to come to the podium. So excited. Kimberly and I started planning this session, talking about this session, dreaming about this session quite a long time ago. And I'd love to formally tell you that Kimberly Roush holds people as big and big. She's the founder of All Star Executive Coaching, which specializes in coaching C-level and VP level executives from Fortune 100 companies to all the way to solopreneurs. She's the author of Who Are You When You Are Big? And by the way, I've been so enjoying it on Audible. Kimberly talks to you, and I've got to tell you, you have a magnificent voice. As I told you, Kimberly, you narrate it with so much passion and enthusiasm and conviction. Love that. So she's also a former national partner in a Big Four public accounting firm. So she brings tremendous corporate experience, more than 30 years of business experience to her coaching, including executive work with executive and board of directors and audit committees. She facilitates a popular program called Back in the Game, or BIG, which is a 3-month group coaching program for executives in transition. Kimberly is also a keynote speaker, leadership facilitator, and charter member of Forbes Speakers, Women's Leadership Council esteemed faculty member, and Thought Council member in C-Suite Network. So let's take yourself off mute and let's go ahead and give Kimberly a rousing welcome.
Woohoo!
Yay, woohoo.
Thank you. This is so fun to be with all of you and to share this. And I know some of you have had a little bit of exposure to this, which is super fun. Because I think I did like a 10-minute session on one of the Thought Council things at one point. And some of you ran with that and wrote big statements and even shared them with me, like Sheila, and I think Teresa Rose and a couple of others. So, but hopefully you'll get even more out of it this time as I go a little deeper into it. So the main premise of this, and this is a question that was asked to me of my coach, that I've gone on to ask over, 3,500 people, probably closer to 5,000 at this point, but I still use 3,500. But I've seen the power of this question to really transform people and allow them to step into being their best selves. So let me tell you a little bit about how it came along. So my last role at KPMG I got promoted into was national partner in charge of having the firm's IT auditors and the financial statement auditors play nice together. Two groups that did not see eye to eye, but I'd done it in the West. And so they asked me to come up and do this in a national role. So I get promoted into this role and I'm dealing with like the number 2 and the number 3 people in the whole firm. And I feel so out of my league. I am not feeling big. And so I decide to ask for a coach for leadership and influence, because this job, I knew how to manage up, I knew how to communicate up, but this job was going to be all about influence. It would take me 3 months to get 10 minutes on their calendar. And then, like, how was I going to get them to buy into the ideas and the solutions that I had? And so I ended up getting this coach, and long story short, he helped me see that the part of my job I loved was all about coaching and developing and mentoring, and particularly challenging and inspiring people. And, if I look back in my career at where I had been thriving, I'd always put some great big challenge out in front of people and then encourage them and inspired them to go after it. And believe it or not, the thing that tapped me into that, my coach had been asking me that question, what makes me thrive, for about 6 months. And, I kept going to my ego. I kept going to what I was known for being good at, my SEC compliance, my risk management, my client service, my, all the things that make you good in public accounting, right? The things that your income is tied to, right? But he kept saying, what keeps you there late at night? What has you there excited to show up Monday morning? And, I just wasn't getting there, and finally one night I was in the office at 11 o'clock and I looked down at my watch and I was like, oh crap, I told my husband I'd be home an hour ago. And I looked at my calendar for the next day and I said, oh shoot, I have my appointment with Alan in the morning and I still don't know the answer to that question he keeps asking me. And then it dawned on me, like, what keeps me here late at night? Well, it certainly was late at night. And I didn't want to go home. I was really engrossed in what I was doing. And what I was doing was organizing a team for the multiple sclerosis bike ride, which is a 100-mile charity bike ride from Irvine to San Diego. I recruited people who didn't even have bikes. We would find bikes for them. I would organize training rides and teach them about butt butter and, always circle back to the slowest rider. So they always felt supported. I'd help them figure out how to fundraise. I'd take away all their fears and then let them go. And what made that so meaningful to me was seeing their faces on Sunday afternoon in Mission Bay Park after they'd ridden 100 miles on a bike, something they never in their wildest dreams thought they could have done. And they did. And I thought, well, where else have I, given them a tool to break through these barriers, to get out of their own way, to allow themselves to think of what's possible, not scared about what's not possible. And I thought, well, can this be what he's talking about? Because this is just like the fun part of my job I got to do, right? Like this was not what my compensation or my expertise or any of that was tied to. And I started to realize that, wow, yeah, that is what he's talking about. And I kept trying to think my way into other examples, and I couldn't do it. I finally asked myself, and this was even after I left public accounting, I finally asked myself, where else have I felt this way? And all of a sudden I had a flood of 10 stories. As a matter of fact, there was a story very similar to this that got me promoted into that national role. And so with some coaching and I started taking some coaching classes, I thought I'd check it out. And within a few months, I decided, okay, well, I tried to look for places within the firm that I could do this and realized they weren't going to put a partner in that position. And so I finally decided I was going to step out and do this. So almost a year had gone by. I was almost certified. I was this close to being certified as an executive coach. And I stepped out. And I went from being, a national partner in a global firm with resources at my fingertips to becoming Kimberly Roush, entrepreneur, one-woman show, no executive admin anymore. I had to buy the photocopier, right? And I was feeling really small, right? And like, who's going to hire me? How am I going to build a business if I'm feeling small? And so naturally, I had a coaching session with Alan again. I still use Alan. He just told me the other day that I'm his second longest client. A couple of years ago, he said, so we've been working together a quarter of your life. How does that feel? What? But anyway, so I had this coaching session and I told him how I was feeling. And he said, excuse me, did you leave any part of Kimberly Roush at KPMG? And I said, well, what do you mean? He's like, did you leave your experience, your accomplishments, your strengths, your values, your gifts, your personality? And I said, no. And he said, well, who are you when you're big? Who are you when you were big, right? I thought, huh. And so for our next session, he actually had me write something out. And when I came to realize as I was doing that, and I actually did my homework this time, what I came to realize in doing that was that, wow, big is simply a state of mind. This isn't about big ego. This isn't about, being bigger than anybody else. This is who are you when you are humbly, gratefully stepping into your best selves, right? And there are no unresourceful people, only unresourceful states of mind. So what if you had a tool to step into your resourceful state of mind on demand? And what I realized was that by writing it out and articulating and knowing who I was and how I behaved and what values I was honoring and what strengths I was using and everything else, if I could identify all of that, then I had an easier access point to it. And I could just simply step back into being Kimberly Roush because every bit of me was still here. And the more I got familiar with it and accustomed to stepping in on demand, the faster I started to realize when I had fallen out, the easier it was to recover, the longer I started to stay there until I started living my life from that state of mind. Now, do I fall out from time to time? Of course I do, right? But I have this tool that puts me right back in on demand whenever I want, which is really, really powerful. And I've gone on to use this with executives in transition, right? They come out facing identity theft, which quite frankly is exactly where I was, right? I lost my title. I'd given up my title. I'd given up my big company I worked for. And, you know, these folks do too. They're just in a different situation and they're going through identity theft. And part of my Back in the Game program gives them their identity back and has them step into this. The second thing I realized as I was writing this statement was that big comes from within. It's for ourselves. It's not the ego of our big head. It's the ego of a big heart. It's our strengths, our values, our gifts. It's not I'm big when somebody approves of me, or I get that position or that promotion, or I win an award, or I achieve something great. It's when I'm big, I achieve great things. I win awards. Right? Like it's because you're being big that those things happen. But because it's 100% always available to you, because it comes from within, it's in your back pocket all the time. And you just have to remember to go to that place to use it. When we're operating from our strengths, so often we take our best strengths for granted. They come so easily to us that we don't put a value on them. I got to do so much coaching and developing and mentoring and challenging and inspiring people in public accounting. It just wasn't what I considered to be my day job. I got to do it all the time. It's kind of how I went about doing my job. But what if I could actually have my compensation tied to my gifts? That was this big aha for me. The third thing was that I realized as I was writing out this big statement was that, wow, when I'm in that state of mind, everything's easy and effortless, right? I see opportunities, not problems. I see challenges and I say, game on, let's go, right? If I thought back to those times when I was thriving in my career, I wasn't looking at a challenge as unovercomable or daunting or anything like that. I was looking at it and saying, come on, we got this. And I run marathons, right? I was once challenged about how a marathon can be easy and effortless. And I'm like, does anybody train for a marathon? Yeah, I mean, you train for months, right? And it gets more and more time every weekend, the longer it goes, And I looked at those long runs on the weekends. I mean, that was my chance to be with girlfriends. That was my chance to, be out in nature and to listen to music and smell the smells and work out a good sweat and blast away bad stress and challenge myself to do things I didn't know was possible, for myself. And, I looked forward to those all week. If you're sitting there dreading all the training for a marathon, I guarantee you're probably not going to run it. But when we're in a positive state of mind, when we're in a resourceful state of mind, a big state of mind, life's challenges become the things that fulfill us the most. And then finally, the fourth thing I realized is that when you're in your big state of mind, you're giving permission for everyone around you to be big too. And you're setting the example, you're leading by example. And it's not just you and your peers, it's your team, it's your peers, your bosses, your boards, it's your families, it's your communities, it's the people in the grocery store in line having a bad day, right? Like you can change anybody's day when you're in your big resourceful state of mind. And so as I sat and played with those four things and realized the power of this, it's a fundamental piece of this Back in the Game program that I offer. Everybody in that program writes a big statement. And what I came to realize is in week 4, we go around the table and everybody reads their statement. And it's one of the most powerful things I get to experience every month. Not only when each person reads their statement, do they get to declare it for themselves? And yeah, maybe it feels a little vulnerable to start, but to be witnessed by all of those other people in the room, and for each of those people to get to witness everybody else in the room, I started to realize that this was too powerful a tool to not share with the world. And so that's why I actually approached Alan about writing this book. And I was just going to publish a compendium of like 5 or 50, big statements from people that had gone through my program. And he wrote a book called Bold Moves, which ties right into this. And he actually had been writing it as he was coaching me when I was leaving public accounting. And he has this concept of barely moves, right? Those are the victims in life, the couch sitters, the I can never do anything, right? This whole world happens to me. There's the brash move makers, right? Those are the people that, you know, are ready, fire, aim. And, you know, they might do great things and they have a lot of momentum and they might have a lot of followers, but they might not be heading in the right direction. And then there are bold move makers who are deliberate and intentional. They operate from hope and possibility, not from fear and doubt and insecurity. And so when I asked him about writing this book and publishing just a compendium of 50, and I'd put his name on it because he was the one that asked me the question and he didn't have to do anything. And he said, yeah, that's a barely move. I'm not interested, but if you're ready for a bold move, I'm all in. And so we wrote a full book, and we had a super fun way to do it. We actually worked with a company that just literally interviewed us and recorded the conversations for about 10 hours over a couple of weeks. And then had a professional editor that basically took all of our conversations and put it into, you know, like took the 10-minute story and took it down to 2 paragraphs, right? And organized it all and put it all together. It was just amazing. 2 weeks later, we had a manuscript and it was like super fun. So I want to share with you. So I'm going to give you, I'll give you a chance to vote here. So I'll tell you what the options are. And then I will let you choose. So I can read for you my big statement. That would be option 1. Option 2 is I can show you a video of somebody else who has done a big statement. I won't use the video that some of you have seen that I showed the last time. So if you'd like to see another person. So who's for number 1 for me to share my statement? I think that's winning. Okay.
Yeah, and Kimberly, maybe what we could also do is provide the video link so ladies, our sisters can watch it afterwards. And I know Sheila Anderson has something to share too, as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Her big
Perfect.
statement. Yeah.
I didn't know if I didn't know you got it ready.
Oh gosh, we're thinking ahead here. Yeah.
I love it. Do you know what happened? I just got to share this. You know what happened yesterday? And Teresa, don't hate me. I posted on, I'm sorry, Trisha, don't hate me. I posted on Teresa's link about her new venture. And she commented back and she said, Kimberly, I wrote a big statement. It worked. It was like, for those of you who don't know, Trisha is following her own venture now, which is amazing. So
Teresa
anyway.
Rose. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay,
giving each of you a little visibility, we're going to be doing this between now and our next session. We're in the court on the field, right?
Definitely.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll share my big statement. We're going to ask you to write these in case you haven't figured that out yet, for those of you who haven't done one yet, and share when we come back together. And as you think about it, I want you to think about your whole life. I want you to think about, you know, not just your work self or career self, but as a mother or father or sister or brother or son or daughter or volunteer, or just all of the areas of your life. And whether you break it down by those areas or meld them all together and see what's common across, doesn't really matter. It's something that will put you in that resourceful state of mind. So I broke mine down. My original one's in here as well, but I did rewrite it for the book. And the rewritten version includes four sections. So who am I when I'm big as a coach? I challenge and I inspire. I listen and I'm curious. I'm compassionate and empathetic. I don't fix because nobody's broken, and I don't help because nobody's helpless. I serve. I believe in the greatness inside of people and I acknowledge their humanity. I relish every moment of my life's work. I collaborate with those who are equally passionate about their life's work. I hold my clients big, and I have the privilege of witnessing their magnificence emerge. As a wife, So I'll give you a little backstory on this one. So my husband and I were both partners in public accounting. He was partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers. I was partner at KPMG. He retired, mandatory retirement at age 60, the same year that I went into coaching. And so we went from, never being home to being in door-to-door offices to one another in our house. And he was going through his own identity theft, but he was certainly behind the scenes in a very big way as I launched my business. So as a wife, I express my love to my husband every day in ways that have him feeling acknowledged, loved, and appreciated. I thank him for my coffee every morning, my clean laundry every week, the groceries he retrieves, the home he has provided and keeps up, the sleep I get when he gets up with the dogs, the love and care he gives, the support he provides in my activities and my business, the grill master that he is, the attention he provides to my family, the stabilizing force he is in my life, and for sure, his sense of humor. The editor made me take out, who else would be endeared by the term house bitch? And he totally is. I mean, if you understood his sense of humor, he totally is. He didn't like house husband, but house bitch, he's okay with. I melt in the security of his embrace. I listen for what's magnificent in his world, and I remember my sexy side. As an athlete, so another little backstory. When I was in public accounting, I got sick 4 times in one busy season. I was on my 5th round of antibiotics in 4 months. And I realized I needed to do something to start managing stress. And so I started working with a personal trainer. And as I was working with this person over, a few months, I started to realize, looking back, realized that I had actually been obese. I was 40% body fat. I was 40 pounds overweight. I knew I was chubby, but I had no idea I was obese. I even had one of those calendars that said I was obese. And I said, oh, that's got to be wrong. And so as an athlete, and I never thought of myself as an athlete, I have 3 older brothers, a mom that's a tomboy. I don't really use one of my eyes. So my depth perception is terrible. I couldn't hit a ball or catch a ball to save my life growing up. And all of a sudden I had this sort of newfound identity in caring for myself. And so as an athlete, I honor my body and respect it for the amazing system that it is. I fill my body with rich nutrients and not junk, even when I've earned the extra calories. Okay, so some of this is aspirational. I find ways to choose activity instead of sedentary options. I've been known to coach on hiking trails. I create good stress for my body and blast away bad stress. I challenge myself to break barriers because every time I do, it's a metaphor for my life. I care for my body when it says it needs it. And I take pride in a good workout that leaves my lungs full of fresh air, has allowed sweat to flush my body of impurities, has filled my body with endorphins that put a spring in my step throughout the day, and filled my mind with the confidence and can-do-itness that no money can buy. As a person, my heart is filled with joy. I'm playful, I laugh often, I smile big. I live in positivity. I'm not working at anything, but rather playing with everything. I'm energetic and enthusiastic, something that wasn't always appreciated in public accounting. I operate from my strengths. My ego is in check and I'm vulnerable. And I give more energy than I take, even when I could use a little love. That's who I am when I am big. So mine's a little longer. It doesn't need to be that long. It doesn't need to be, anything but what for you puts you in your most resourceful state of mind. And the way I have people tap into it is to think back, the same question my coach kept asking me: when in your life have you been, energized and engaged and playing full out and operating from your strengths and thriving or flourishing, or, the really special times? And then think about what was meaningful about those situations to you. What was it that had you thriving? And then step back from yourself in those scenarios and say, who was I being? Because to me, this is a huge personal branding statement. And we want to develop who you are for your personal brand as you at your absolute biggest light, most shining, resource in this world, rather than you at your mediocrity, right? Most people sort of go to who they are sort of at their mediocrity to come up with their brand. No. I want all of you. And then just one last thing I want to comment on, because Kathleen and I talked about this. And part of this is about being bold and, bold and big. So I had a student that I was mentoring at University of California, Irvine, UCI. And she read that we gave them the assignment to read the book over winter break. She read the book. She decided she was a junior. She decided to write a CEO to the letter of her dream company and ask for an interview, ask if she could come in and talk to him. And she's a beautiful writer. And he said yes. And she's like, oh crap, I better write a big statement before I go. So she wrote a big statement. She was hoping maybe to get a summer internship between her junior and senior year. He offered her a job on the spot, and it started 2 weeks later. They created a position for her. As a junior in college. Oh my gosh, but during that semester, her twin brother committed suicide. And I was still coaching her. And at one point she said to me, I don't think I can be big in this stage of my life. And, in these circumstances with all that just happened. And I said, what does big look like in grief and in sorrow and in sadness? What does it look like with those characteristics, right? Like maybe it includes self-care, maybe it includes allowing, maybe it includes, reaching out and loving others more. Maybe it includes, I don't know, right? But I challenged her. I believe big isn't just, I tend to be an energetic, enthusiastic person, and some people think that big has to be that, but it doesn't. Big can be in any situation you're in. What would it mean to be big right here, right now, right? And so that is what, bold looked like in that situation for her, right? So just wanted to add that little tidbit in, because I know some of you are going through scary things, right? Challenging things or sad things.
Beautiful, Kimberly. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So, this is so powerful, really so powerful. And I'm curious, would Sheila Anderson love to share her big statement as well? I'm kind of jumping in here to feature one of our esteemed faculty members, Sheila Anderson.
I can certainly do mine. Kimberly, that was wonderful. And I have to tell you, I didn't think about the big statement from from those dark times in our lives. Like, how are we big and how do we rise above? I mean, we all think about how we rise above that, but really like writing a big statement or editing your big statement for those times, that was powerful. So thank you for sharing that. I had not thought about that. Again, I live in positivity. It is my number one strength, right? From Strength Finder, that's my number one strength. So
exactly. I lost my father in March, and there's certainly loss and sadness and grief, and yet I feel as though he's ever present, right? There's been so much. I feel closer to him now than when he was alive. We always lived in different states my whole life, and I feel such an honor to be taking care of his trust and estate and everything. And it's it's a huge amount of work, but so it's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because I really hadn't focused on it that way myself too much until talking to that intern.
Well, certainly continued thoughts and prayers to you. It's never easy losing a parent, as many of us know. So please reach out if you need anything. So, all right, I will read mine quickly. Mine is shorter. So here we go. I live by the mantra, leave a smile wherever you go. I am a magnet for people and light. I uplift others by my words and actions. I see what is possible for them and what sets them apart. I celebrate their uniqueness. I help them see it too. I embrace life fully in my part in others' lives. Others experience joy when in my presence. They feel worthwhile. I live to encourage not only others, but myself. I speak with confidence and self-assurance. I not only love others deeply, but I love myself deeply. Every cell in my body is alive and beautiful. I trust my intuition. I step into my greatness without fear. I have all the gifts I need to be my best. No one else has my unique set of values, skills, abilities, and desires. I am thriving each day as I do my personal best, realizing that may be different each day. And I give myself grace.
Wow.
Love that.
Unmute yourself. Let's give a lot of a woohoo.
Can you imagine a whole room of us reading these? I mean, I don't
Well-
know about you, but my occupational hazard now is that my cheeks hurt because I smile so much.
We are going to be doing that. So good. Thank you.
Yeah, excited
my
for others.
God.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sheila. So beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Very inspiring. Very inspiring. Very, very great. Yes. So Kimberly, let's jump back in because we want to, go to some next steps about what we're going to do as a follow-up.
Yeah, so what we would love to have you do is each of you write a big statement and come back next week ready to share. If you want some more ideas, I'll put a link to my Vimeo channel where I have many of these posted. I have several, people that I've, invited to professionally record their big statements, and then they allow me to use them for social media. So they're all posted on a website that you can go get some ideas from or watch others and be inspired. One word of caution, play with this. It's not I'm big when some condition occurs. It's when I am big, who am I? What happens? So make sure you get the when at the beginning, not kind of in the middle of the sentence, if you will, because then it becomes conditional upon that happening. And we don't want that. We want it, to be coming from within. And you can almost always just flip the exact same statement around. So
Beautiful. Good. And we'll be following up with the replay along with a list of questions and then the link, of course, to your Vimeo video for inspiration. And then in 2 weeks, when we come back, we'll be featuring each of you, if you'd like to participate, read your big statement. And the challenge will be, how do you make it bigger and bolder, right? And authentically you, of course, right? Yeah, good. So I'm going to put us back on gallery view. And, I'm just curious. Let's jump in and give some appreciation to Kimberly Roush with, hey, who'd like to jump in? And you know what we do in the Women's Leadership Council, our signature style is the big leader I see in you, Kimberly, is, and I'll just start it off, powerful. What other adjectives would you like to chime in about Kimberly? Unmute yourself, jump in.
Inspiring.
Enthusiastically alive.
Empowering.
Thank you.
Passionate.
Thank you.
Fun.
Woohoo! Thank you. For
Encouraging.
sure.
Encouraging.
Thank you.
Vulnerable and powerful.
Thank you.
Good. Kimberly, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're very clear. This is like a half day and a full day workshop that you leave. So, to being able to condense this into something for our Women's Leadership Council to get the thought process going. And we're going to follow up with some tools for you. So yeah, good. Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, please.
I didn't know you did that ended that way. You must have added that since I've been joining you all. And that's actually how we end our Back in the Game program too. So it's actually a month-long program with 4 3-hour sessions, and these people get to know each other. They become a personal board of advisors for one another. But that's the last thing we do is we give each person like 3 minutes. What do we see in this person they don't see in themselves, or what do we see a little bit of that they'd love to see even more of? So thank you. That's powerful because I don't usually get to receive that. We usually give it to every guest. So to every participant. So that was fun. Thank you all.
Perfect. And then Kimberly, you have a give, I believe. You'll put it in the chat. We're certainly going to follow up with an email message to everyone about the program. Yeah,
I do. I would like to invite any of you to come to my Back in the Game program as a guest under full scholarship. I can't have the whole session filled in the same month with all of you, but I can certainly take 2 or 3 a month. I'd be happy to have you participate. So if anybody is interested in that, let me know. Let me just quickly put the link in the, let's see, copy.
Thank you. That is so generous of you, Kimberly. Thank you.
Yeah, and then so month 1 is the 4 sessions over, it's every Tuesday morning, Pacific time, 9 to 12. And then months 2 and 3 are 2 1-hour sessions each month, just to keep the cohort together, to continue to support people. So if you're going through any sort of a change in your life, or you're wanting to get back in the game in some aspect of your life, I would just absolutely love to have you participate.
Thank you very much. Very, very generous of you.
Reach out for me and I'll give you a discount code that gets you in for free.
Bravo. Great. Thank you again, Kimberly. Woohoo!
Thank you all.
Oh my gosh.
I can't
so
wait
beautiful.
to see your big statements.
That's going to be fun in 2 weeks. Yes. Good. So ladies, let me go back and just do a couple little quick shares here. And again, thank you, Kimberly. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Wow. How very inspiring. And, we were talking about what's emerging for you. And, I think for me certainly is to have a big statement, to read it every day, to live into it, and then ask myself the question, hey, how can I make this even bolder? Where is it that I can play a bigger game? So just curious for all of you, when you write your big statements, we're going to come back in 2 weeks to do that. So you can get on the court. And, speaking of our sisters who are on the court, who are playing a big game, our esteemed faculty, we are so grateful to each of you. We are growing, ladies. We are growing. And it's so exciting that you get to bring your gifts and your talents, because the Women's Leadership Council, we are committed to showcasing you, promoting you, giving you an opportunity to present something that's important to you, and even incubate new ideas, as several of our sister leaders have done as well. They've come up with whole new bodies of work that then they've been able to use out in the world for new clients and new opportunities. So we're very excited about that. And of course, our Women's Leadership Council founding members, we are growing as well. So thank you to each of you. And our newest esteemed faculty member, Tara Clancy. Oh my goodness, Tara is a high performance sleep strategist. We cannot wait to have a session with Tara talking about good sleep, good health. So she's got this beautiful trademark program and her podcast, the Counterfeit Sleep Podcast on C-Suite Network. So we're very, very excited to welcome Tara as a esteemed faculty member. And of course, our newest Women's Leadership Council founding member, Carol Kamimer. Yay, Carol, and we know you're on the call. Yay. And Carol, just a phenomenal expert on LinkedIn for the Savvy Executive. Please buy her book. Please provide reviews on LinkedIn and on Amazon. Always appreciated. And she's a world-class executive coach, speaker, and author. We're so excited, Carol, that you have joined us as well. So very, very good. And, as we wrap up today, in typical and to be expected and in wonderful C-suite style, we want to be the most strategic and in-demand women in the room. And so for this program is when you got your big statement, you're living in a big mindset and doing those right actions and getting even bolder, you're able to, I'm sure of it, activate your power, get your seat at the table. Because our new motto, I believe, is our time is now. Our time is now. We can't wait. We don't have any time to wait. Our time is now to get what we want. So let's go after it and get it. Okay. And, as we finish up here in the Women's Leadership Council, we know this for sure, that we are better together. And the she-wolf is just as strong as her pack. And so we've got a pack here, ladies, that is very, very powerful. And in this fourth quarter of this year, going to be growing exponentially, thanks to our C-suite colleagues, thanks to all the support, thanks to you. So bring a guest in our bi-monthly sessions, okay? And of course, one of our heroes, sheroes, is of course Wonder Woman. Deb Creer, you got the Wonder Woman mug there as well. I've got my Wonder Woman mug here. You know, even she needed a council. So come join the Women's Leadership Council. And we've got a founding member designation. It's just an upgrade, the cherry on top of your sundae for your C-Suite Network executive membership. So come join us. We'll be following up with a link. If you're a guest, we want you to join us. If we know guests, bring a guest. We'd love to have your guests come join C-Suite Network and then join the Women's Leadership Council. Men are also welcome, okay? We'd love to have men as our members. Okay, and so, you know, the next thing I want to mention is, and I'm going to take myself off of the screen, that I don't know if you've been aware of this, but there are new hotspots that have been developing over the past month around the United States, particularly with this Delta variant. And we thank and appreciate and send lots of love to Virginia Beach. It's a hotspot. It's been all over the news, and there are hotspots all along the East Coast, all over the United States and the world. But we've made the tough decision to postpone our in-person iFly and Rise event. Hotels were warning us that groups needed to be extremely limited, and our brother and our wonderful colleague, Bob Pizzini, and I have been in communication, and we are optimistically planning for first quarter of next year to get in person. So if you've made any flight arrangements, please contact me separately, and we'll make sure that your change fee is handled. Okay, so contact me directly if you've made your flight arrangements. I've made my flight arrangements, but I'm going to be switching them to another date. So yep, and what we're talking about with C-Suite is on Friday, October 15th, we will be doing a summit. So Friday, October 15th is going to be a summit. So please clear your calendar. Details will be forthcoming. We're going to make sure that this is we're going to do some sort of iFly and Rise, but we're going to be rising on Friday, October 15th. So thank you for that. Okay. So any questions, please feel free to contact me. You know, when you're playing a big game, sometimes you got to reevaluate, right? You got to pull it back and reevaluate. So I'll be transparent. I was heartbroken, and then I stepped back and said, what's in the highest good? And not now, but not forever. Okay. Yeah. So with that, thank you. And just curious, what's your takeaway from our interactive gathering today on Get Big and Be Bold? Just wondering what your takeaway is. Love to get some quick shares in here before we complete. Who'd love to share? What's a takeaway for you about how you can get big and get bolder? Jump in. Yeah, thank you, Susan, please. Mm-hmm.
So Kathleen and I have been together for the last month in this movement marketing campaign run. And so this ties in beautifully with making sure that we are playing big and bold in developing this moving forward. So thank you, because Kimberly, this is perfect for making sure that the statements we're making and the way we're framing it helps everyone to play at their biggest and best. Thank you.
Nice. Awesome.
Thank you. Yes, Joan, please jump in. We've been
knowing,
missing your voice, Joan. Just want you to know that.
I've learned to hold back and not be the first one out all the time. So knowing this was happening, I knew I had to take some steps before we met today. And that led to my scheduling this money energy tune-up event that scared the hell out of me, but I had to do it. And I thank Kathleen and Carol for actually signing up. And I just know I'm on the right path, and it's because of people like Kimberly and all of you who I have to show up for, that's going to allow me to show up for a much bigger audience than I have been. Even though I've been online for 25 years, I know that it's going to be much bigger in the coming years. And I think I've reached the age where if I don't do it now, it's not going to happen. So
Thank you, Joan. And you know what? It's at any age, right?
yes. People
It's-
tell me, 60-year-olds will say to me, it may be too late. I'm 80 and I'm just getting started. So
Love it. How inspiring. Woo! Yeah. Thank you. So Joan, feel free if you'd like to put the link in the chat, and then of course on our LinkedIn group on our page, we will make sure to activate any links that you have as well. I think we've already done that, but we'll look at that again. So yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there was a LinkedIn group. Thank you for telling me that.
Yes, our LinkedIn page. Yep, our women's leadership. Yep, I'll make sure to tag you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Great. So who else? What's inspirational? What's your takeaway from our time together? Carol, I know you've got something to share, and then Charity, because I know you've had a program. You've had a lot going on, Carol.
So let's see. Yes, I had the opportunity to present to Dana Olivo's audience and mine together. It was really fun. It was Monday, and we talked about, are you running behind your online brand? And how can we catch up, and how can we own our brand online? So I shared my strategic questions for how do we get to our brand? How do we capture it? How do we make it strong? And how do we focus in so that we are not being pulled in 100 ways with all of the different social media, but really focusing in. And I also talked about that when we have a business, that we should drive our statements and our presence through our personal brand, because people like to do business with people, not companies. And people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so when we come out as our big and authentic brand, people are drawn to us.
Bravo. Thank you. Thank you. And we can't wait to have you featured as well, and to talk about this in greater detail. So this is great. Thank you, Carol. Beautiful. Good. Charity, you were going to jump in. Thanks, Carol.
Yes.
Charity, yeah,
So-
please. How were you inspired today?
Oh, so many different ways.
Oh, how beautiful.
Just knowing that I'm not alone in a lot of this, though, that feeling small. I live in a really small town, so I always felt small. And now I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of a thing, like, for the whole community, everybody all over the place. This is, it's something I think women definitely have struggled with more so than men. It's easy for a guy to come out and be big, even though I know my husband tells me all the time he's terrified, but it's easier for him to step up, where I'm like, oh crap, you get in, like, we have a lot of the good old boys club stuff around here. It's starting to shift. So I walk in thinking, oh, people at C-suite, they respect me, they listen. I walk in and they're like, what do you know? And they're like, Dave, you should learn to shut your wife down. And I'm like, oh, no, you did not just say that. So I instantly small down in that. So it's really inspiring to know that as long as I remember to come from my heart and follow that passion deeply, it's going to be fine. The right people will be drawn to me. It's like I'm a lighthouse and they're moths.
That's right. That's right.
It was big. So thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
Bravo, Charity. Glad you're here. Thank you. Good. How about one more Deb Creer jumping in, Susan jumping in, Patricia, Elizabeth, quick share as we finish up here. Trisha, anything? Yeah, jump right in.
I would love to say this is my first time visiting with you ladies, and I am honored to be in the presence of such magnificent people.
Thank you. We're so happy that you joined us, and we'll follow up with the link and all the communication. Please, that's really good. Please come back again. We want you here. This is your home. Yeah, good. Thank you. Deb,
Don't forget
Susan?
to join us at Celebrates tomorrow too. We'll
That's
introduce
right.
you.
That's right. Tricia, please, do you have the link that you could put in, and we'll follow up as well on Friday Celebrates at 5 p.m. Eastern. C-Suite
Yeah.
Network, amazing way to finish up your week in a powerful community focused way and celebrate what went well this week, what went great. Yeah, thank you, Tricia. Yeah, good. Good. And so as we finish up, Susan, anything, Deb Career, anything else? Take away. And you are
Susan, we
muted.
can't hear
Susan,
you,
dear.
even though you're not on mute.
Yeah.
It's like you're on mute. No.
Yep. Okay. Deb jumping in, Tricia jumping in as we finish up. Takeaways.
I just love seeing, and I said I was really thoughtful about it, Kimberly, because I've thought about you so much in the last few months and all that you've been going through. And to show up today the way you did, I was trying to get the exact right words. And the vulnerability I can see just because I know you, and that strength that requires that. So I said vulnerability and power, but really, you know, I corrected myself in the chat because it's the vulnerability and the strength that it takes to share that vulnerability and then give the power of that to all of us. So I am truly grateful and so thrilled. And I feel even more connected and more, you know, part of your personal journey, which is always inspiring and empowering to everybody around you. So I'm just, I'm grateful, awed, and so thrilled. And Kathleen, always thank you so much for creating the space and the opportunity for us to have these breakthroughs and really connect together, because I you know, it's so funny. I mean, C-Suite Network, you see it in everything I own, you know, literally everything I own. But my children don't have tattoos of it yet, although they do have C-Suite TV shirts. But it just the power of how we do come together, how we deliver together, and how we connect versus, you know, network, which I'm, you know, it's so beyond that. So thank you again for just such a powerful session today, and one that we know we've just come to expect to be incredible breakthroughs every time we're together.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And so with that, golly, thank you. We love you. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a marvelous week. And ladies, it's our time. It's time to get big and get bolder. Okay. Have a beautiful day, beautiful week. Watch for the follow-up in the replay. Take care. Bye for now. Bye-bye. Thank you.